Good morning, everybody. I'm glad you were all able to attend. There's going to be a ton of information today as well as last night. So I know I packed it in last night. My greatest desire is that you guys be safe enough out there that you're not worried about anything. You're alert to everything. You know how to read your environment to where you can understand the difference between safe and risky. And stay out there as long as possible, because the longer you stay out, the deeper the relationship can be between you and the wilderness. And believe me, it's talking and it wants to share everything it has with you. So that's my goal. And that's why I created Mountain Education 40 years ago, beginning of this month. So that everybody stays safe and have fun in the backcountry where we all want to be. But unfortunately, people simply don't understand, especially when it comes to snow or the alpine environment, what they're walking into. You know, they figure, hey, it's a trail, right? It's going to be there. Well, no. So I don't really have that much more to add, history-wise. But what I did want to do this morning is to recap, just if I can, in a couple sentences, what last night's presentation was all about. Why should we be so concerned about an April start versus a March start versus a May start? And I think for those of you who were in attendance last night, you picked up on the notion that it's really a very changeable time of the year. The seasons are changing between winter and spring, and so the two things that you've really got to keep in mind is, one is the environment you're walking into when you're out there. And strategically beforehand, you should be thinking about that environment so that you can decide what date you want to start, what date you want to enter the Sierra. So those are two different things. Start date from the Mexican border, 6 weeks later when you enter the Sierra, what will the conditions be like? And so if you understand that, the Sierra is still frozen in May, it starts warming up the end of May after a normal winter, because that makes a huge difference, as you found out last night. If it's a drought winter, May might be looking like July. Here, let me get rid of that little noise you just heard. And so if it's a heavy winter, you may not see the end of snow all summer. And the Sierras is like that. The Sierra is like that. So you have to realize too that you are a stranger in a strange land when it comes to everything being snow covered. Not only is the air colder, but the ground is very slippery. I mean, there's no ground, you're on snow, frozen water, hello. So when it's flat, fine. You can walk around using micro spikes on flat-ish terrain, because that's what these were designed for. But once that terrain, I love props and I do this all the time. Once that terrain, flat, now becomes inclined, if you're going straight up, you're largely going to be toeing in. Or if you're going straight down, you're going to be heel plunging. And this is the stuff I'm going to talk about later today. But if you're going across, you're going to be on the edge of your shoe. And that is the crucial point of today, outside of creek crossings, which we'll get into also. So all I want to do is just quickly recap that it's a very changeable time of the year in the Sierra. You may have frozen snow, easy walking until the thaw starts, and then it's going to be soup. And you have to change your strategy on how you move over it, through it, time of day. The dangers change that you encounter during the day as the snow softens and the ambient air heats up and the thaw starts. So that will all affect, all those things environmentally will affect your strategy. You may elect to start or want to start in March to avoid that messy creek swollen scene. Or maybe you'll say, hey, I want to start later, or I want to go southbound. But southbound actually, and we'll get into that later next month, but southbound has its own, I consider it kind of really serious hazards. Being on steep snow in trees is a lot worse than being on the side of Forester Pass or any other steep slope, where if you do fall and slide a little ways, you're not going to run into a tree. You know, trees will ruin your day real quick and get you flown out. So southbounders have their own concerns, but they're similar because of the environment is similar. So that's all I really need to say. This is really a show and tell kind of a presentation. We're going to talk about how to deal with those hazards that we pointed out last night and I just mentioned again. You know, nasty creek crossings, stupid soft snow, trying to hike at night and how that works. Yeah, a whole bunch of different techniques we're going to cover today, as well as gear, clothing. Any comments, any questions you have, throw them out.